I love you. Will you marry me?
She said, I love you, boy, I love you so.
Why did this movie do this, man?
What did it do?
I was sitting up there. I was enjoying its company. I felt like it was giving me some amusing banter. It was pleasant. I didn't mind being there, but it couldn't shut up. It just got to a point where it was good. I was ready to go, and it just kept going and going. And I had a movie that I really kind of didn't love, but I was okay with it.
You didn't realize you were watching the 5-year movie?
Yeah, I was like, wait, is 5-year engagement or 5 years into
the 5-hour running time? So it felt like it, God damn it. Shit!
Now, it is admittedly one of those films that's from the Judd Apatow School of Filmmaking, which means that you film absolutely everything, and then in the editing room, you decide which set pieces are funny and which aren't. And traditionally, none of them have strict enough of an editor.
Okay, I'm about to say.
There's no scene in this movie that I go, wow, I hated that. But there's lots of stuff that you're right. They could have done without.
This is
like about 40 minutes of it.
This is the movie where they actually keep in all the shit that should have been deleted. I mean, yeah. They don't even waste time with an uncut version anymore. I'm like, what happened to those days when I didn't have to sit through a comedy for 3 hours?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. That Judd Apatow School of Filmmaking, they don't have an editing class.
No, apparently not.
Well, the thing is, I
edited his name, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Judd Apatow.
Judd Apatow.
I mean, with that Judd Apatow School, you just bring in people who you know are funny or funny actors, or in this case, everybody who's on an NBC sitcom. every sitcom on NBC got represented by some actor from that show. But you bring them in and just let them riff and put it all together. And yeah, sometimes it works out, sometimes not. But I think whenever Jason Segel is in the mix, it is not for me.
I'm the other side of that entirely.
Yeah, that dude, he's just too random.
I find that Segel's the guy who makes it work because he's the one who finds a way to give it some heart. And I think 5-year engagement works on that level. I mean, if there's a complaint to be made, sure, is that it is a long movie. There's no question about that.
It's not a long movie. It's a long fucking movie.
It beats around the bush a bit. But you know what? I thought that I liked the primary characters enough here, and I love all the supporting characters enough that I wasn't bored.
I have to admit though, I'm sort of right there with you, Leon. After this movie, I'm pretty much done with Jason Segel, and I'll tell you what.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you why. I mean, because yes, I mean we are beating around his bush constantly because for some reason, all of a sudden now it's like I am forced to see that guy's naked ass in every goddamn movie he's doing now.
Well, if you notice, he's gone through phases. There was a phase where he was showing his dick a lot, and he's like, oh, I think enough people have seen my dick. They ain't seen enough of his ass right here.
Yeah.
So now he's showing his ass in every movie. Yeah. Well, I swear in that movie, The Muppets, there's a scene somewhere where he's walking around with his ass showing. They're like, hey, man, we it's a kid's movie. We got to
I think that was at the opening of the movie when fucking Kermit the Frog popped out and go, howdy-ho.
You know what? In fact, I bet you they put googly eyes on each one of his ass cheeks and made a Muppet out of his ass.
You still like Harvey Keitel? Come on.
Hello.
He did it once.
The thing.
He did it once.
No, he didn't.
With 2 hours, Jason Segel got to run through his entire catalog of shtick. Because if you've seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall, it's all those things. It's like, okay, I'm kind of a man-child. I'm not really grown up. I spend a lot of time just sitting around being a slob. Oh, here's my dick. Here's my ass. Let me crowbar the Muppets in here somewhere. I got a girlfriend who's way too hot. And I'm going to do this because I think it's funny. This person's going to say this random thing because it's funny. Does that advance the story? No, not really, but it's kind of cute, right? Actually, motherfucker, no.
Damn, Leon, you know what? I might not agree with you all the way, but you gave a very good analysis of Jason Segel right there. I'm going through my mind. I'm like, man, you being too hard. Wait, check. No, make check. Check. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. Okay.
If you're looking just for the negative side of Jason Segel, then yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Oh, okay. Give me a microscope and I'll look for the positive side.
It's a pimple on his ass.
I think there's lots of funny stuff here, lots of stuff to really love. I thought there's a lot of heart here. Like I said, I think it's a smart story. I thought that the relationship between these two people, despite the fact that yes, she is way too hot for him, it was convincing. Other than that, I mean, I liked that. I thought it was believable. I thought the side characters were genuinely funny all the way through. Do all those things you say exist? Yes, they do. But they didn't bother me.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. You two over there, Leon and Coles. I'm gonna get with you in a minute. But you, Cyrus,
You guys wait outside the principal's office.
Could y'all go outside and just let Cyrus talk?
Well, he started it. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Cyrus, because see, look, I agree with you, man. These guys over here, they're a little bit too hard.
I can see where this is going.
No, I'm not. There is no angle. There's no angle here, man. I'm being serious. I like Jason Segel. I got no problem with him. I have no Korey or quarter or whatever you call that shit with him.
Doesn't he has a beautiful philosophy? He's like Jason Livingston Segel.
You know,
See what you did? See what you did?
okay, y'all come back in now. No, listen.
All those
I was about to slip my wrist at
Richard
that
Bach
moment.
jokes.
I never had one. So I don't miss it at all. But you know what? The thing is, man. See, this is my problem with the movie. I like Jason Segel, dick, ass, and all. You know, he's all right with me. Him and Emily Blunt in this movie, I thought that they were the people that I wanted to know. And you know, I'll just give a quick rundown before we go too deep in this. They played Tom and Violet. They're a couple who, you know, they're that annoying couple at the party where they're just all over each other, talking about how much they love each other. You just look at them like, damn, could y'all fucking take this somewhere else? Y'all just, well, okay, y'all love each other, but
Why don't you guys just fuck?
Yeah,
right here.
right here. Let me put a mattress down right here. Go ahead. We're just gonna eat hors d'oeuvres around you. But they're cute. They are cute, and they really do love each other. And they finally pop the question. You know, they get engaged. It's very romantic, and then as life does sometimes, it throws a curve in there, and Violet gets I guess a job at the University of Michigan. And so they're
Getting a job fucking with people.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
about it.
yeah, exactly. Like she's some
Psychologist.
psychologist, but
Behavioral psychologist.
But they live in, but see, before they're living in San Francisco, he's working as a chef at a nice restaurant. She's waiting for a job. She can get something there. The weather's nice, and she was just patient. But she says, hey, you know, follow me over to Michigan.
That's reading a bit into it.
She fucked this all up, man. She's very selfish, I believe.
I'm sorry. Somebody says, hey, would you like to leave what's voted maybe the number one city to live in the USA almost every year to move to the state that has Detroit, the worst hellhole
Yeah.
you could possibly
See,
live
Cyrus,
in?
you think I'm reading too much into it, but consider this.
RoboCop ain't there, Cyrus.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, bitch, we got to break up.
Yeah, consider this. Look at this. They're happy. Everything is rosy in San Francisco. And then what happens when they move to Michigan? When that snow falls, their romance starts to decline.
That was the problem?
That was the problem because he gets there. He's like, man, I turned down my job. I ain't got no friends. I'm miserable here. And you can figure out what happens there. They have to reevaluate their relationship, and this engagement just keeps going longer and longer, and to the point where they think, is there even going to be a wedding? Because are we even going to be a couple after all this time? Now, those two people in that kind of situation, I was rooting for them. I was like, man, I really want to see them overcome these adversities here. But these fucking weird people just keep getting into it and distracting this whole thing. And I got enough weird friends. Y'all sitting right here. I don't need to see no more weird friends in a movie, man.
What are you talking about? You're the one who always invites the psychos to come sit in on stuff. You invite people to stay in your house that you barely know.
This is true.
That's a different movie. You know, this is a romantic comedy. That's something else you're talking about right there. No, I really do feel like there's the movie. Leon and I were talking. He's like, man, do you think that this is a little random? All these characters and all these jokes coming here. And I said, yes, because we have the heart of the story here, which I saw the whole movie in the trailer. And when I see this, it's all padded out by these comedians that make cameos, these side characters, these jokes that have nothing to do with the story at all, that just can seem to go on. And it's taking me away from the two people that I really want to get to know, because I want to feel that emotional turmoil of the trouble that they're going through. Instead, this movie wants to I feel like it's trying too hard to make me laugh and blocking the real reason why I'm here to watch this movie.
I guess ultimately it comes down to whether or not you know, which is the most subjective thing of it all, whether or not you thought those funny parts were funny. Because to me, I thought that was the high point of the film. I cared much less about their relationship than I did about all those side characters that I found genuinely really entertaining. I mean, it's you know, you can either have a romantic drama without those characters, or you can have those characters and make a romantic comedy. And Judd Apatow's style is, sure enough, every scene is a set piece scene that ends either in an emotional punch or it ends in a punchline. I mean, that's the way the School of Apatow filmmaking works. And sure enough, Nicholas Stoller, who directed this and Forgetting Sarah Marshall, co-writing with Jason Segel, that's the way he makes his films as well. But I find like when he's working with Segel, they find that balance between the two that's comfortable enough for me. Once again, does it go on too long? Yeah, probably.
Well, for me, it wasn't even. I mean, yes, it was that the movie itself went on too long. But even with those side characters, which normally is the kind of thing that keeps something like this going, almost any time they did something, the side characters or the main characters, they told a joke that I got a chuckle out of. I'm like, this is going to be funny. They would go on too long with the same joke. They would just heel it down into the ground. I'm like, fuck, man. You get a good joke, you get your laugh, you get out. You don't just keep trying to mine that plumb that same mine. What I didn't expect to have happen was that I found the two main characters quite annoying. It didn't take long. I mean, I liked them at first, like everybody else does. You're like, hey, these seem to be the same people, and so good for him to hook up with her, and she's cute and all. But it didn't take long when they got to Michigan just to fall into like, wow, this is the people you are. I don't.
No, you're
what
right.
happens to you.
You're absolutely right. I mean, that was my biggest problem with the movie is that, well, number one, the movie starts to lose focus as soon as they make that move to Michigan, where all of a sudden, for me, that's where the movie just completely fell apart because they introduce all these characters, and you know they're going to introduce these characters because you can't help but point out, hey, isn't that guy from that other movie we just saw? Hey, isn't that chick from that TV show? Hey, isn't that chick from that other TV show too? And you're like, okay, wow, you're throwing all these characters in here. So, I mean, yeah, the movie's going to kind of lose its point. I mean, it's called the 5-year engagement. I was expecting to see a story revolving somewhere around that, but no, it became more about this chick's crazy job and all these crazy people kind of associated. And Jason Segel, his character just became a homeless guy. I mean, he fucking became the Lorax in the middle of the movie where it got to the point where it was so ridiculously over the top, especially with the scenarios going on to where I'm like, okay, are you trying to make this somewhat believable, or are you just saying, fuck it, I'm going to do something serious like a Judd Apatow moment, and then I'm going to go on and have some kind of like out of fucking nowhere SNL skit, like go over the top, and which that's where the movie kept losing me.
You're right. That's what it felt like. It felt like the movie stopped to give you these little skits where they had an idea for a joke, but they let these people sort of improvise it out and yet had no ending to it. I can't tell you how many awkward cuts they had for some of these scenes that felt like they didn't go anywhere. That's not to say I didn't get good laughs out of it. I mean, they were in there.
There's a few chuckles here and there. I'll give you that.
No, the movie gets so crazy, man, that there's some things that just come out of nowhere. Look, I like random kind of humor sometimes. I hear when it looks like there's a goal. I don't like you to keep pulling off the road, and go in different directions. That's taking a long way to get there. But there's some things you just can't laugh at. I mean, you just can't help but laugh at because they do come out of nowhere. Like Reese Ifans, who plays Emily Mortimer's boss in the movie, and
Winton Child,
and Emily Blunt.
Why I keep saying that?
Emily Mortimer is a different cute British chick.
Yeah, they're all the fucking same. They all got accents. Fuck them.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, shit. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, Gwyrth. What a fascinating name.
It's actually pronounced Gwyrth. It's Welsh. Gwyrth.
Yeah?
Gwyrth. With an F. Gwyrth.
Gwyrth.
Ah, like Gwyrth Paltrow.
No, Gwyrth.
What?
No, it's Gwyrth. Gwyrth. No, Gwyrth. Gwyrth. It means miracle in Welsh. He was a rescue dog.
Nice.
Well, enough about the dog. To marriage.
To marriage.
Cheers, everyone. Congratulations, both of you.
Thank you, Winton.
No, Emily Blunt. No, her boss is played by Reese Ifans, and he's an older guy who knows Taekwondo and also knows parkour. And there's a scene where he just runs off doing parkour for no reason, and they don't explain anything. And because they don't explain that, and because it's obviously a double doing it for him too. I'm like, man, that's funny.
That got the biggest laugh out of me, surprisingly. But then again, it's still like it's so awkward. You're like, oh, okay, or well, if that's what you're throwing at me,
it's funny and it belongs in a different movie.
It really does.
But you know what? That's one of the things where I thought that's one of the random things that feels like it belongs in here. There's other things in the movie that just don't feel like they belong. I tell you, some of the things that even belong in the story feel like they don't belong. There's subplots that are used as plot devices to get, to make the characters, their relationship more complicated. And they don't feel natural. They feel like, oh, we're having this situation here to make them fight. And the movie just has about 2 or 3 things in there that no matter what kind of movie I see them in, they bug the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah.
One is the people who get up and do speeches in places, and you can see that there's older people there, there's kids and whatever, and for a quick laugh and for shock value, they make the character throw fuck into every other sentence, and like, hey, man, that's a cheap shot.
It's funny because in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, that was one of the things that bugged me, how they would have Russell Brand, like he's supposed to be this rock star that everybody loves, but he'd get up and he'd be doing these overly sexual gestures where I'm like, man, yeah.
But see, in this movie,
out of it, you can't do that.
I can take it one time. I can like, okay, I've seen this before. It's old. I can take it one time, but I counted to be at least 3 times.
Oh yeah, no,
there's times
they kept relying on.
Well, there's times when the scenes like that, when like you guys were talking about, they go over long, where it's like you're watching a bad comedian to start just like, at first he's like, all right, you kind of hit it like, all right, you're hitting all right, but then, okay, now you're losing me. Okay, wow, get off the stage, dude.
Yeah.
And the camera won't. And you're just sitting there kind of squirming like, this scene needs to end. Like,
it does.
it serves no real purpose
is done,
for this plot. Yeah, the joke did not work.
And here's the thing about Emily,
the odd man out here, but like I said, it comes down to subjective. All those scenes you're talking about, I thought really worked and really
well, you are wrong.
I mean, like the guy you talk about, the thing with the guy who's saying, "Oh, fucking, it's inappropriate." It works because of who the character is.
Which character did you like?
In that case, his best friend here, who was played by Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt,
who's just kind of a jackass, but a likable jackass ultimately. And they use him in that Russell Brand type of role here. In fact, I thought his relationship with Alison Brie, that's just sort of bizarre, like to both of them and everybody else as well, is one of the funniest gimmicks in the film. I love the two of them together. In fact, this movie makes me even more sure than ever that Alison Brie is on her way to being an A-list star and not just a television.
Whoa, slow down now.
No, she just got such a presence in this movie.
You're right, and she's got a lot of talent. And every time she was on, she was like the consistent thing that I liked.
But there was nobody in here that I really didn't like. I enjoyed it all the way through. I mean, I know, like I said, once again, we're just gonna butt heads on whether or not you think something is funny.
We're going to talk to you. This is an intervention. We are going to keep telling you this until you agree with us. You have 3 people
It wasn't
here.
even a real movie. We convinced Jason Segel to shoot this, so we have a reason to pull you aside.
We can talk to you about these kind of movies,
You
man.
know how that chick in that movie was fucking with people? That's what we're doing to you right now.
Jason Segel is my best friend, and you're not going to tell me anything different.
He's not even real. He's a Muppet.
But I know. You can't
That's
help.
not true. It's impossible.
You can't help but realize that too. It's like after a while, it's like, wow, he does seem like a fucking Muppet. I mean, like a one-note Muppet after a while. And I was like, I wish this guy would honestly play a different character. And I think that's one thing that I'm really getting kind of tired of. I'm getting tired of seeing him play the same exact goddamn character that
Adam
he's been
Sandler.
in every one of them.
Exactly.
Well, Adam Sandler's hilarious.
Sometimes he's Billy Madison. Sometimes he's Little Nicky.
Yeah.
Sometimes
he
he's
talks
a monkey.
Yeah,
that talks like Louis
sometimes he
Armstrong.
talks like this.
But I mean-
sometimes he talks like this.
That's hilarious.
And don't forget the time he told I did.
But this, I'm like, all right. How many times do I need to see his character be called the man child? I'm like, how many times do I need this guy to represent how men are becoming today, is becoming more like women than ever? It's like I don't want to see. I don't want to see this. And another thing I'm sick of. I'm sick of seeing this guy fuck. I don't know how many movies we see.
That
where
I agree with you.
Yeah,
on.
where it's like, wow, there was like an entire almost 10-minute scene where he's banging a chick where I'm like, okay, it was funny the first time when it's like, yeah, he's a fat guy trying to fuck.
I know, but
great. But then no, they added a whole nother scene later on in the
Wait
movie.
a minute,
that
I've
just
been to
went
your
on.
house. You have the complete Ron Jeremy collection.
What?
No, I agree with you,
The
Cole.
last time I fucking bring you up.
If I wanted to see a white A fucking another woman, I'd bring bestiality porn. I don't need to watch this kind of
Or
shit.
watch Congo or something.
But you know what? You hit on something that was going to be my next thing that really bugs me in movies. Emily Blunt, I'm cool with her. She's a gorgeous woman. She's a great actress. But I gotta say something. I think this is just another example. I've seen her do this in other movies where they're in a love scene and she can't take that fucking top off, man.
No,
who fucks like that? Who fucks not
Nobody.
only? But
Yeah.
no, but like here's the deal. I don't know how she did it. He's fucking her, and she still got a top on. In between them, she still has a layer of covers that she's still covering herself with. I'm like,
I just told myself they're dry humping.
what kind of? It looked like they made some kind of fucking Subway sandwich right there. I'm like,
The only thing I questioned, I said the same thing. I was like, what the fuck? Who fucks with the covers on? I was like, oh, wait, it's Michigan.
yeah, it is kind of cold, I guess. You're right.
And also, it's Jason Segel. She's got to fuck. It's probably like they probably had to get cattle prods
Hey, look,
on the set in the first place. Show her a contract, put a gun to her mother's head. Like,
Yeah.
look, you have to do this.
Look, Mr. Director, you ain't paying me that much. That's in my contract. My fucking body doesn't get close to that little fucking wiener schnitzel yet.
I mean, I do agree. I think it's odd that he's markedly unattractive. There's no question about it. There's something about his skin. You're like, did you have a strange disease when you were a kid that left you with the skin of a corpse?
He's got weird liver lips, too.
All I see is cancer when I look at him.
But I do disagree with you, Ghost, about the character that he plays. I mean, I think that's a niche that's a good niche to have right now. He is the nice guy everyman, and I think he's created a specificity to it that is kind of unique. We haven't seen this guy other than these roles that Jason Segel is playing them in. I think he does a good and convincing job. In fact, most of the girls I know are totally in love with him, which it works for me. So.
You know what? I finally figured out something. I want you to take a look at movies where he has not written them. And now you watch some movies where he has written them. This has just come to my mind right now. I think I'm right. I should do a study about this. Movies that he has not written, he doesn't do a love scene, or if he does it off camera. But movies that he has written, he's always got himself on screen fucking some fine chick. He writes this shit for himself.
Dude, I bet you know what?
The whole time they were making out this movie, I was like, he wrote this just so he could do this.
Oh yeah. And that's a great thing to point out, but can you fucking blame the guy?
No, I don't.
If you or I wrote a goddamn movie, are you telling me we want to be fucking everybody?
No, when they said, you're not going to believe this, Jason, but we got Emily, what's her face? Blunt to be in this role. And there's a pause. He goes, I got to go into the writing room.
Yeah, you saw smoke coming from his pen.
I do not blame him at all. I've been trying to get my script Korey Fucks a Lot made for years. It has not been able to happen. So I'm hating. That's all it is.
That's the problem with 2 a.m. You should have made it 3:45 a.m. There might have been some fucking.
They're going to throw your ass down. They're going to put him in. That's what's going to happen.
God damn, Jason. No, listen. I'll come to my conclusion right here. No, I do not mind. I'm with you right there. Now maybe in the Muppets he made me mad, but that's because he brought that asshole Walter.
Man, leave Walter alone.
Yeah.
No. You know what? I saw Walter the other day at a goddamn Disney store where they were selling that shit. I wanted to burn it. Fuck him.
You know all this nepotism shit. Just because Walter's his friend, he gonna have him all of a sudden be in a Muppet movie. I do not appreciate that about Jason Segel. Those Muppets work too hard to get what they are. He gonna bring this one in.
Yeah.
But other than that, Jason Segel, I like him. I do think he's charming, man. You know, he's that guy I would like to hang around.
Sure.
And
he's you're the guy who's ugly you hang out with, so the girls make a beeline to you.
Yeah.
We've all seen his ass. We might as well hang out with him, right?
Damn. Well, that was the point we took his shirt off too, and that shit looked like a fucking raspberry garden. He had all kind of pimples. He had all kind of pimples.
I was waiting for somebody to throw him in a pan, put him in the goddamn oven, so he can come out looking like bread. I don't know.
No, he does look like Joe.
Him and Emily Blunt, they were great together. There was just watching the rest of the movie. I really want to see more of them. I didn't mind some of the random additions to the movie. I just felt like they got in the way of the story. Now, and you bringing these other characters in the film, I just felt like some of them didn't even fit. They were just there because they are part of some Judd Apatow comedy friendship ring somewhere that they brought these people in on. Kevin Hart's in the movie. He didn't really fit in the movie.
It's funny because I was thinking how, like, if this had been a week ago, I'd be like, oh, well, that's nice they threw Kevin Hart a bone. But after seeing Think Like a Man, I'm like, wow, y'all wasted that brother's time.
Yeah,
he could have made this movie, just give him more to do.
He just didn't feel like he belonged there. He felt like he just got invited because he knew somebody. Do me this favor. Okay, thanks.
Well, you know, like the little cameo he had in the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, like something like that. And you're right about they had the Indian chick who was in the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
And she's from The Office. Chris Parnell from 30 Rock.
Yeah. I felt bad the old guy from 40-Year-Old Virgin who was hysterical has one line.
The Indian guy?
Yeah. And it was a really funny line, but it's like, oh, I love that guy, and then that's all you get.
Some of it works, some of it doesn't. Who's that big ass Yeti they got in there?
Brian Posehn?
Brian Posehn. That dude looked like a gorilla fucked a toucan.
I swear, when Jason Segel was like
I was
giving up,
an orangutan because he's a redhead.
When Jason Segel was giving up and growing all this weird facial hair and shit, I was like, man, isn't that Mastodon? That's that band, right?
Yeah, they
both look like the goddamn Lorax.
That's Brian Posehn is a big old ass Lorax.
I think he's funny as hell, personally.
I think he's funny too.
No, he is funny. I thought they kind of wasted him. I was hoping they'd give him more shit.
He's one of the additions in the movie that I actually think worked. Yeah, out of all those comedians that they brought on as friends, I can see him being a buddy.
He was random as shit like everybody else, but his randomness was funnier than everybody else.
No, he was. I thought he fit actually. He was the one character that Okay, you got to have the funny sidekick character that you meet in the new town. Brian Poiser, why not? He's all right
Posehn.
with me.
I mean, I
Poiser,
would've-
is it
Poseidon.
Poseidon? What
Yeah, Brian Poiser's the local Austin director.
God, fuck these names, God damn it. This movie's so long, made me forget everybody I know, man. But
Chris Parnell, unfortunately, doesn't work as well, which is a shame because I love Chris Parnell.
Sure.
And there's a running joke that they just like do it
Chris
three
Parnell.
too many times. He's
Now,
the
ain't
guy who
that-
makes all the sweaters.
no, he's the guy from Soundgarden. Ain't he?
No.
that's another name I fucked up. Okay.
I like him because he's on Archer more than anything.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Yeah, it's like that joke. There's this joke where he makes horrible sweaters, and it's funny the first couple times, but they do it 10 times, and it's
Oh,
like,
Chris
all right,
Parnell, the
that's
sweater
enough.
guy. Yeah, and that's another guy that just kind of he seemed like he could fit, but he floated in and floated out. Basically, for me, it's a very uneven movie. It's so random that it's just so uneven that it breaks apart the coherency that could have been the charm of this movie for me. The little laughs I got don't amount to more than a rental. So
It's funny that I don't, on the whole, disagree with your criticisms of it, but I laughed consistently all the way through this film. I really did. There was not more than 5 minutes that would go by when I didn't laugh. And considering how many blocks of 5 minutes there were, that's a lot of laughing because it is a really long movie. The running time's not even on the Wikipedia.
It's 2
site.
hours.
Maybe
It's 2
that's on
hours.
purpose.
It's 2
It's
hours.
5 years. And you guys just fast forward.
I'm sorry. Yes, we were mistaken. Yes, it is 5 years.
And it truly could have been easily edited down, and I would say by maybe 20 minutes, not 45. But they repeat the same jokes a few too many times. But the core story is really solid. I love the sort of end message, which is that, hey man, love ain't supposed to be perfect. You guys were like trying to make it like, oh, everything's got to be perfect before we get married, and that's just not the way the real world works. I like that. I like the way that they come around to that conclusion, and it's a very sweet ending. I thought altogether, like the romantic side of me was touched there. So between those two things, I'm still going to give it a low full price. Did it have its problems? Yeah, but I rarely even like romantic comedies, and this one is one that worked for me.
you sappy son of a bitch.
Well, I did just get in a new relationship, so you got to give me a break.
I know, yeah, exactly. See, watching this through those bright new relationship eyes you got. Next year, watch that movie again. You see what I'm talking about?
She's already destroying your career.
Let's see what you say 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
You're going to greet her as Yoko the next time you see her.
Oh, Cyrus, she's so cute.
Yeah.
At the same time, yeah, this movie hits on way too many things that I don't care for at all. And you know what? Jason Segel, me and his sense of humor, they don't jive. We just don't get it. He is very random and always doing the same thing. And man, co-host, you hit it. You said it's a bad comedian who goes on too long. Like the message of the movie, that whole, it doesn't have to be perfect. I felt like that was just tacked on and inorganic because it was going in all kinds of directions before that until it finally just said like, all right, guys, I guess we eventually do need to wrap this up. So let's give it something. And really to get to that point, you talk about contrivance. It does a thing that pissed me off so much. Like it's random to the point to where like, okay, it's either hitting on something that's annoying or just not that funny. I almost got some laughs, and yet they torpedoed them every time. The side characters, too many. It's a low rental. I would never watch this movie again.
Yeah.
But I can't quite give it some old bullshit because hey, there are people enjoying it. Cyrus enjoyed it, so I'll give him that. But
See how he said that, Corey? He's like, fuck him.
I know, it pretty much is. I look like he just pretty much said, you're full of shit.
Well,
And that's his review.
yeah, I don't know what I give this movie, but Cyrus is full of shit.
don't mind these pile of bones over here. But no, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything you just said, Leon. I mean, there's a lot of this movie that yes, it's the word today is random, which it was, but there's plenty of times in this movie where I was sitting there watching it, going, man, this is going to be some bullshit easily, but then something would come up where it's like, hey, I mean, not that bad. And,
Turning to pop out watching it.
But and the thing is that Jason Segel, he is a guy like when he was forgetting Sarah Marshall. I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. I loved his character in that movie. But after that film, he's been playing the same character over and over and over again. And I wish the guy would just do something a little different. Go outside his range if he wants to keep
don't have any.
doing the fucking movies he wants. Well, I mean, he definitely.
He's at home on the range. Give him a break.
Well, if he can explore his eating options, I'm sure he can explore other things.
He'll switch from eating Twinkies to Zingers.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, my problem with it is that there was just jokes that went on too long. There's a lot of things that just felt out of place in this movie that probably would have felt more like should probably been in an Adam Sandler film more than a movie like this. That's I keep wanting to call
Well, you would have loved it.
Exactly. Right? I keep wanting to call it a Judd Apatow film, even though it is not. It is strictly produced.
You don't think it is?
But well, I mean, the one thing I have to complain about it completely is it is too fucking long. There is no and I'm letting all the directors out there, anyone who's writing comedy, anyone who's directing comedy, there is no fucking reason on this fucking earth that you should have a 2-hour comedy,
Unless it
or
has zombies.
hold on. Don't fuck me up.
Caught him right in. Oh shit! I'm gonna turn that was kind of good, man.
I'm gonna turn to Popeye again.
You hit his pressure point.
But let me get back on track. There is no reason why you should have a 2-hour, and if you're Judd Apatow, a 2.5-hour comedy. There's no reason. There's funny friends of mine who I can't stand to be around more than an hour, and this is kind of the same thing where I'm like, okay, I get this. Okay, this is really not going anywhere. You forget that the one thing about this movie is you forget that these people are even engaged. You don't know what the fuck is going on.
True.
You don't ever think about it until they have to throw it in your face at the last 20 minutes to wrap up, what they just started. And I was just like, man, this is, I can't, I'm not going to remember shit from this movie. There's nothing I'm really walking away with this movie besides, man, I'm really sick of seeing that fucker Jason Segel's ass already. I'm sick of it. So I mean, I was almost on the verge of some old bullshit, but I will give it points for making me laugh at the times it did. So it's a rental. It's straight up rental.
If Carlisle was here,
he would hate it.
he would say this. He'd say, "You guys have no souls." That's the first thing he would say, and then he'd go, "They just hate it because you hate it, Corey, because we all know you hate all romantic comedies."
Oh my god!
Why you got to bring up some old shit like that, man?
Always bringing up that old shit.
Don't you know Carlisle and I just got engaged? We were happy, and then you got to bring this shit up.
I never thought I would miss him so much.
Any ideas when this wedding might happen? Grandparents do have a tendency to die.
Mum, they're all right there.
Well, for now.
This is why we do not delay weddings.
The 5-year engagement.
What a cute little flower girl you'll be.
I'm Pocahontas.